recap what we're all about. When the River Speaks, this is our third year, right? Yeah. Started in 2021, so we're moving into year 3 with this. The idea is that we are just a community published. We publish out of the library, but we're a group of library employees as well as community volunteers that help put this thing together. And we're all about celebrating all the creative voices in our community, uplifting voices that maybe don't normally get the spotlight in literature and magazines. And we're just about creating space and creating community, fostering connections between the creatives in our community. So if you know poets or visual artists that are looking for a place to share their work, maybe you know someone who's a little shy and thinks, I don't know, encourage them. We love to publish first-time poets, first-time publishing poets, artists. We are always looking for artwork, and there's so much great artwork in this community. So please send it in, encourage your friends. We'd love to have it. If you haven't already picked up your copy of it, it's there on the table. You can take extras, feel free. We'll print more. And let's see, what else did I have to say? We've got some really cool programs coming up at the San Marcos Public Library that I want to highlight. It's also on the back of your journal, so you've already got it written down. But we are having a really cool program on the 20th of January, so that's 2 Saturdays from now. Or, yeah, not next Saturday, but the week after that. And it's Poetry and Potluck, and it's run by When the River Speaks volunteer, Liz Garcia. She's an excellent teacher. Her classes are super fun, very welcoming, very approachable. It's going to be a generative writing workshop with snacks. So what could be better? It's going to be a lot of fun. It's free to attend at the library. We also have a program on Monday night at the library called Writers Inc. And that's just a place for writers to come together and just kind of share space as they write. And I think sometimes there's an option for them to go off and maybe do a little workshopping if that's what you're there for. Or you can just vibe in the room and do some writing. If you're looking for a place and a space to make time for yourself to do that, that is on Monday night at 6:30, January 8th. And if you're not feeling that, I teach yoga at the library on Monday night for free. So if you just need like a chill yoga class, come check it out. So let's get started with some poetry. What do you say?
Yeah.
I'll stop rambling. So nobody wants to be first, so I'm going to read a couple of poems just to break the ice and get things rolling here. I was telling my friend Tom here before everybody started to trickle in. Over the holidays, I did a bookshelf weed out, which, as you know, is super painful. But I decided to let some stuff go so that I could get some stuff up off the floor. And in that process, I found this book by Yevgeny Yevtushenko, which I have no idea where I got it, who gave it to me, and I've never read it before. And sad to say, I've never even heard of this poet. I know he's like super famous, but that's real. But I read it, and the poems really blew me away. And this one poem I read was like a stomach punch, but beautiful at the same time. Beautiful stomach punch. And I can't stop thinking about it. So I'm going to try to read it to you, although I gotta admit, my glasses are not good, and I kind of can't see. So I'm going to do my best here. This poem is called People. No people are uninteresting. Sorry, y'all, I really can't see. Maybe I'm not going to read this poem. I'm going to pass this book around. Y'all can read yourselves if you want. Note to self, I need to go to the eye doctor. So here's this. Maybe somebody with better eyes wants to read that. Or maybe we should turn up the lights and I should just forsake the ambiance.
Yeah.
Let's do that.
That's another idea.
Is that better?
That's my
Yeah, keep going.
Because y'all want to be able to see too. Maybe I can try again. Where's that book?
Sure. Give it a look back.
Okay, here we go. Take 2. No people are uninteresting. Their fate is like the chronicle of planets. Nothing in them is particular, and planet is dissimilar to planet. And if a man lived in obscurity, making his friends in that obscurity, obscurity is not uninteresting. To each his world. Sorry. This is real bad, y'all.
Yeah.
Nope, it's not happening. Okay. To each his world is private, and in that world, one excellent moment and one terrible moment. Okay, this poem is going to make me cry, so I actually don't want to start the evening off like that. Sorry, this is a really awkward intro. So if you put your name on the sign-up sheet, I'm going to invite you to come up and get us started on the right foot. And the first person on the list is Annika. Welcome, Annika. Put your hands together.
Hi, everybody. I see anticipation in my hands. This is my first time doing anything. This is how it goes. I don't know how much happier this poem is going to be, but it's called 2003, The Unbearable Heaviness of Being. At dusk, muddled light ushers emptiness into the park, surrounded by chain link and grass, browned by the sun that would not yet abide a breeze. And my father flies a kite on the bridge that I am too scared to cross, and the rusted iron mesh a sieve between me and the molars below, and I feel as if falling is a biblical certainty. I am slow motion hurtling towards a kind of becoming and praying it will not mean first being gathered up in pieces. At once, how great the cost of anger feels when the breeze no longer abides a flight. I watch my name fall through the gaps on the bridge, and I stay right where I am, unable to trust that anything so limpid could bear the weight of being. At night, unreliable light, yellow and bug-choked, sputters from the street lamp at the park's entrance, and these kids on BMX bikes pop wheelies while balancing on bars jutting from the tires, laughing as they throw cans over the guardrail and disappear. And I feel like crying, and my name falls too, without the courtesy of bouncing back, and my shadow, stretching out as much as it can take, reaching for the bank, is so much taller than I will ever be. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Put it together again for Annika. First of me, I hope that poem was amazing. I love the part about the unreliable bug scattered light. It's beautiful imagery.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing. Okay, next up we have Carmen. Welcome, Carmen. Thank you.
Well, I have a bummer of a poem too.
That's all right. Maybe that's
Good. It's really good. Overwhelming grief. Trust that something organic within you, some deep, wise energy, will care for you as you let yourself go into your suffering. Sink into that deep, dark pool of suffocating loss. Let go into the hellish flames of guilt and shame. Feel it completely for as long as it takes the sobs to rack your chest. Trust you won't die or get stuck in a mental illness. Be as sorry as it requires, because at some point Your bladder will force you to get up to pee. Your dry mouth will demand a sip of water. Your face will ask to be wiped dry, or your exhausted body will fall into unconscious sleep. Eventually, a loved one will call, or a flower will bloom. Trust that in the depths, something magical can happen. Some kind of non-duality will answer your screams at God. How could you allow so much suffering? Trust the life force that healing is possible. Though it may leave a scar, an aching joint, an occasional tide of tears, trust that the one you lost still lives in your heart. That the horrors you saw will be balanced by love. That death is neither to be feared or purposefully induced. Suicide will only add more suffering to the community of which you are a part. Being a force for good will remind you that goodness exists. You were hurt, and the pain was immense. Yet simultaneously, you are love, and you are so very loved.
Carmen, thank you so much. That was medicinal. So many beautiful lines in there and so many good reminders. The line about doing an act of love reminds you that gives you hope. I don't remember exactly what your line was.
Goodness
I'm butchering it.
exists.
Yes. That, I needed to hear that. Thank you so much. And you know what? That's one of the things that I really love about poetry. Like, poetry is like a container, and it just takes the shape of whatever you need to put in it. So if it's your grief, if it's your deep, dark, terrible hatreds, if it's your joy, you want to capture a moment of joy or gratitude, poetry is big enough for all of it, and it's not just one thing. Poetry can also be a way to protest. So it's a versatile art form, and I love that about it. And I love hearing y'all's words. So in keeping with the, darker vibes we're going with this evening, it seems, I brought some poems tonight by Palestinian poets, just to share their words and to hold space for them, and what's going on. And I will try to get through this one without crying. But no guarantees. This poem is by the poet Hanan Mikhail Ashbari, and it is called From the Diary of an Almost 4-Year-Old Girl. Tomorrow the bandages will come off. I wonder, will I see half an orange, half an apple, half my mother's face, with my one remaining eye? I did not see the bullet, but felt its pain exploding in my head. His image did not vanish, the soldier with a big gun. Unsteady hands and look in his eyes I could not understand. I can see him so clearly with my eyes closed. It could be that inside our heads we each have one spare set of eyes to make up for the ones we lose. Next month, on my birthday, I'll have a brand new glass eye. Maybe things will look round and fat in the middle. I've gazed through my marbles. They made the world look strange. I hear a 9-month-old has also lost an eye. I wonder if my soldier shot her too. A soldier looking for little girls who look him in the eye. I'm old enough, almost 4. I've seen enough of life, but she's just a baby who didn't know any better. So, sorry to make the next poet follow that, but pause. Big breath. Exhale. Okay. All right, next up to the stage, please welcome When the River Speaks OG poet Ellen Braverman.
My poem is on page 15, if you want to turn it. It was written 2000, 24 years ago. Life, the tiny acorn falls hitting the ground, turning into my oak tree, the one that guards my house, the house I love. The child into a mother who watches her children anxiously, knowing there is nothing she can do to help them through this process of change. Our earth gives birth and dies, constantly changing. Volcanoes spit forth their red-hot flames into our mouths. We back away, too hot. Only the brave few keep moving through war and peace, life and death, fear, guilt, and desire. Disease comes to those who need to change, but have blocked all other avenues. The body slowly dies, the mind forgets, until one day we finally realize that there is nothing we can do to stop this natural movement. Be still, the tides of the earth keep on coming, gently washing away our sand, till only my love for me remains.
Thank you so much, Ellen. I love that last line. I love the surprise of it. It's great.
That's like O. Henry. Remember?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
great. It's great. I really appreciate your poetry. Thank you so much for sharing. Every time we put an issue together, we get so many wonderful submissions, and it just blows me away every time to realize I live in this cool town with all these cool people who write amazing poetry and make cool art, and it just makes me really glad to live here. So yay, San Marcos. It's awesome. If you're just getting here and you would like to read poems, this is the sign-up sheet. In a minute, we'll probably go, I'll open it up to somebody who's maybe a little not ready to put their name on the sign-up sheet, but if you would like to sign up, I will put this down in a minute. Next, let's welcome to the stage Marita Hutchison, whose poem is in this issue. Put your hands together for Marita.
Thank you. This is a photo on page 14. I'd like you to look at that first. And then if you'll, so I actually get to swim. That's the San Marcos River, Springfield River, and I swim almost every day year round. So this was actually taken a couple of weeks ago. And then the photo on page 13 also helps describe my motivation, I guess, for this poem and its reflection. Anyway, so the name of the poem is Wintering. As I face grandmother pecan, intentionally hovering over me while I swim on my back, she is whispering, "It's okay. It's okay to bare your branches. It's okay to let those once useful appendages fall beneath you and be carried away by cleansing water. And it's okay if they sink to the riverbed, still visible as if reminding you what you used to look like. And it's okay to see the sparsity of your reflection, training you to see the beauty in the requirement of transformation. It's okay, she says. You'll be okay, she says."
Thanks, Marita. I like that one too. Wintering is something that I think about a lot, just taking your cues from nature. I'm feeling like okay with slowing down and not being as productive and taking more naps and all of that stuff like the bears are doing and letting go of things like the trees are doing. So I really appreciated that poem. Thank you so much for sharing it. I would like to welcome now to the stage somebody who is going to probably most definitely up the vibe. Jack McCabe, my friend. You're next. Would you like to read your poem?
Thank you, and honored to be here with all you poets and poeters. I love coming to San Marcos. I live in Manchaca, up the road, so I'm not actually from here, but I always come. I've been coming here since about 2013, actually, to this very stage. And I met this lovely gal. Early on, I'd say we've probably known you for most of the last decade. That's 7 years, maybe 6 or 7 years. And like I said, I love coming here, and I love her, and I love what she's doing here. And I think we deserve a big hand for her. Because she makes it happen. Someone has to get on the horse and ride it, or else it doesn't happen, right? So this one is a little bit more hopeful. Not saying anything about anybody else's work. It's about word sharing. It's on page 6, and it's about the courage it takes to take the words from here or here and put them on a piece of paper and take them out of your drawer and march them down here where some other people can share in those words. Right? Writing the words down is one big step, sharing them is the next big step. I've heard many words come from bards and poets, and now I wonder somehow, does it matter if the words have meaning? Do the words only mean something to the writer? Are we meant to understand or to be enlightened? Some deliver with great gusto and theatrics. Some deliver with beats and rhymes. You know who you are. Some employ a musical score or someone strumming, and some are more contemporary in playing. A string of words coming forth like an automatic weapon. Concepts shallow or deep, impossible to grasp, flying past. It's all art, as they say. But most impressive last evening was the shy poet who, with one page of her words, had the most to say, speaking to a cold and hollow heart, eaten out somehow, drained, weary already of this life so short. Between her lines I could hear the longing to be understood. Maybe to be sharing in the love she sees all around us. More than a melody, but one with deeper lyrics. Lyrics that were accompanied somehow with strings. I thanked her twice and we hugged. Another poet praised her reading as well. I was pleased to witness the affirmation and applause. Word sharing takes such courage, indeed, so much courage.
Thank you, Jack, and thank you for the reminder. It does take courage. I remember my first open mic. I was nervous, stomach felt all trembling. But honestly, it still feels trembling sometimes. Whatever, maybe that never goes away. I don't know. But you know, Jack was very nice to give me a round of applause. But I am just the nerd that gets up here in front of the microphone. There's a whole lot of other people that are involved behind the scenes. Carter, I don't know if she stepped out, but she's one of them. We have Liz Garcia and Harley McGowan who put the journal together, does all of the graphics work. So there's a whole crew of people behind the scenes working, and I just want to make sure they get a shout out as well, because it takes work and it's a labor of love for us. We love doing it. So I'm going to read one of my poems. It's not in the journal, but who likes mushrooms? I love mushrooms, so I wrote a poem about them. Okay, so this is called Hymn to the Mushrooms. In the beginning was the fungi. It crept from shallow water to intertidal zone to absorb the rotting algae, slurp up minerals from stone, sending dendrite filaments through the old basalt, enlivening the world's first brain, neither plant nor beast, but both. And also something else, unfolding in fractal patterns, our first mother-father, who began to eat the earth 2.4 billion years ago, regenerating it for us, the plural, who is one. Lo, the kingdom of fungi is within you, but also here and there, fleshy, fruiting, minding their own, gods of death or healing, gods of ink and dye, gods of umami and perfect seasoning. We exist at their discretion and always have. One day they will dissolve our bones. So I'm a huge science nerd, and I especially love reading about geologic time and deep time, and that was partially what that refers to. Mushrooms were like some of the first living things on land, and they made the soil. It's really cool. Just fun fact, in case you're a trivia night, you need to know that. 2.4 billion years. Okay, let's welcome someone else to the stage. Adriana Montoya, is that you? Welcome. Put your hands together for Adriana.
Hi all. So I just wanted to thank you for sharing your poem, because this is actually my first open mic. I didn't really come here thinking I would do this, but I just saw the sign-up sheet and I was like, why not? So this poem is not something that's actually in When the River Speaks. It is based on an event that happened after the deadline to submit was, and it's actually based on the death of my hamster. So this is a eulogy for my hamster. His name was Pippin. When I first brought Pippin home, he came in a cardboard box. The pet store clerk handed it to me, and I marveled at how light it felt in my hands, like the hamster inside was made of only fur and air. I had never held something so small. How different he felt 2 nights ago when I carried him to his grave in the Bigelow peach tea box that I used for his casket. How solid his still body rested in my hand. Strange how the smallest things are often the heaviest. The waxing moon looked on as I dug into the moist earth down the hill from my apartment, and I wondered what the moon looked like when President Johnson was laid to rest beneath a twisting oak, not unlike the one whose roots I now knelt by as I tore into black soil, still wet from winter rain. I had never buried a pet before. In the past, it was my father who had the mercy to find our rabbits and our dogs in their last hours. He wrapped them in a bag and buried them in the yard where we would not stumble upon them as we played. But Pippin was mine, alone in death as he was in life, and when I found him curled up as if asleep in his house at 12:30, I knew he was gone, because only in death would he have let me stroke his now graying fur without nipping a finger. Pippin drew blood 4 times in his life. Each was because I had been naive enough to think I could hold him without retribution. And yet, I, of all people, know the foolishness of thinking that we are owed domesticity from any wild thing. And so Pippin remained wild until the end. And I will always admire him for living and dying, untamed as the west wind which Aeolus bagged for Odysseus to carry him home. What is that saying again? Something about love and setting it free.
I love that. I used to have a hamster too. It's so sad when they died.
Yeah.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace.
So thank you, Adriana, for sharing. Let's give her another round of applause. First time. Thanks, guys. So, Adriana mention missing the deadline for this round, but since you brought it up, I'm just going to say we are always taking submissions. So if you miss the deadline, it just goes into the pool for the next publication, which will be in April for Poetry Month. It's going to be awesome. It'll be here again. If you are interested in submitting a poem, or you know a friend who is, the submissions email is on the back of the journal. It's submissions4wtrs@gmail.com. You can also follow us on Facebook and Instagram. We post lots of poetry, prompts, inspiration, and if you send us something and you don't make the journal, we will still publish your poems on our social media. So keep an eye out there too, because we publish lots of cool local stuff. So that is the last name I have on my list, but I know some of y'all are here to read poetry and share poetry, and maybe just didn't sign up. I can feel it in my belly, intuition. And I know Tom probably wants to read a poem.
Come on, Jack, let's do it. Well, baby San Marcos, extension of where we both live in South Austin. You have your mermaids and your mermen, and you have your springs, you have your salamanders, you have your students, therefore you have libraries and poetry readings. It's 5 o'clock in Barton Springs. No matter how early I get there, there's always someone before me. And I hear the splash, splash, splash of someone with lateral thinking, not knowing that Barton Springs eternal. You don't have to be a square or a rectangle like the alien skyscrapers of now Austin. So I make my way down to San Marcos, where irregular people still gather. They have circle and have spiral of unlimited imaginations, conjure up people that we have met before. I was lucky enough to see Andrei Beloshensky and Yevgeny Yevtushenko in 1972 at the University of Melbourne. Changed my life as everything like this tonight changes our life. And I learned one of his poems, although I love two of his poems. There was a love poem to a hydroelectricity station called Brush Station. There was another one called The City of Dark and the City of Niet, the City of Yes and the Sea of No. My poem is I live between them. I live in the land of I don't know. But the one that took my soul and squeezed into teardrops was lies. Telling lies to the young is wrong. Telling that God's in his heaven and all's well with this world is wrong. The young are people. They know what you mean. Tell them the way is hard and the difficulties are uncounted. Tell them that you have failed before and will probably fail again. Tell them now. Tell them often. Otherwise the young will not forgive in us what we so readily forgave in ourselves. So poets of San Marcos, we are aligned with the poets of Gaza and the poets of Russia and the poets of Ukraine and the poets of Uvalde, all places where people are feeling pain. And I'm reminded in San Antonio of the Palestinian poet Naomi Shevnak, who brought her father to the readings of Bookwoman, who was set up by my friend Deb Akers, and this is what she said: meet my father. He was a journalist all his life and the Dallas Observer, but in the last years of his life he wants to be a poet. As Pablo Neruda said, the engineer wants to be a poet. But no poet wants to be an engineer. And so her father came and he said, I am a child in the world of poetry, but this is my poem to share with you. You see that tree, that olive tree in the yard, in the backyard? My great-grandfather planted that tree, and he watered it with his tears. My grandfather continued to water that tree with his tears. And my father waters that tree with his tears. And if you want to know who owns the land, ask the tree.
Nice guitar.
Thank you, Jack. That was lovely. So I'm going to read another poem by a Palestinian poet. This one is by Baswan Al-Dawari. It's called "This Bread Was Born, This Bread Was Killed." With clean hands, he gently sifts the flour and adds a handful of yeast. He pours the warm water for the yeast particles to live, then rolls and kneads and rolls and kneads the dough. He lets the soft mass rest. With firm but gentle hands, he rounds it into balls, flattens them into shape, and handles each one delicately into the oven. Soon, perhaps in half an hour, the bread rolls are born fresh, healthy, and browned. The newborn breads breathe, yet dust chokes the air. Searing gases penetrate their thin, fragile crusts. On the day of their birth, a missile, a bakery, a scattering of za'atar, flesh, and blood. Is there anybody else who would like to share a poem, or if you've read and maybe you want to read another one? Oh, I see hands up in the back. I love to see that. So come on down, come on up to the stage. And since I don't have your name on the sign-up sheet, you'll just have to introduce yourself.
Absolutely. So my name is Violet Messenger. Given the location, the garb, the makeup, a little bit more of a dark poetry, I'll give you two options. Whimsical Melancholy are a story about letting go of things that no longer serve us.
Second one.
Okay. So it's a little bit of a serious story that I'm working on about a wolf and a cat and their relationship together in the woods. So, in the black forest, dark and deep, and the shimmer of nightfall while most did sleep, out stalked the wolf, hunting for prey, just as it did day by day. Through the mist, brush, and fog of night, he spotted a girl distantly in his sight. Alone did she walk, unguided by the light. Peculiar was she, what spared her midnight flight. He distantly proud, observing as she strolled. A light cracked the sky as the thunder rolled. Her hair was long and raven black. It had an iridescence to it, something the night did lack. Her scent danced through the air as forward she did stride, reminiscent of a rose mixed with sea foam tide. Why was she here? For what did she search? He curiously followed, onward he lurched. He looked all around her, but no destination was to be seen. Alone in the dark, but what did it mean? Closer he circled in order to observe. Straight was her path with no stagger or swerve. For a moment her pace seemed to slow. It appeared she had something heavy in tow. Attached to her hands was a long strand of rope. He followed it along for a solution, he did hope. The rope was taut and her grip was tight. Buried in the fog, the other end was not in sight. As she slowed, the rope began to slack. He growled in frustration to find the back. He traced the rope, heavy paces were heard. 3 corpse-like beings were attached, not saying a word. In their heads it was writ, regret, loss, and grief. No wonder she walks, in hopes of relief. The wolf snarled at them, but onward they went. Deep in the fog he smelled their sulphurous scent. Their eyes glowed red, brighter as they grew near. The wolf knew what they were, and something to fear. He pondered briefly, a solution must be reached. before they reached her and performed their breach. He darted back to her along the road in the distance. Crickets were heard, and a croaking toad. Onward he ran to her front, snarling as he pled, "You must let go of your bindings, or you'll soon end up dead." She glanced at the wolf with an empty, blank gaze. "I've carried these burdens all of my days." Forward she marched, her grip ever so tight. What can I do to make this right? Sometimes it's difficult to learn to let go. Surely those that don't, their past remains slow. The wolf leapt at her and gnawed at her bindings. He fought both sides of the rope in hopes of fair tidings. The rope gave away, thread by thread. The girl stopped as it broke and lifted her head. "Thank you," she said. "I thought I could be strong, but I needed a friend, it seems, all along. Don't be afraid to ever reach out. Friends will be there." I've had too much caffeine, I'm a little shaky. "Friends will be there with never a shout. Where did you come from? Where will you go from here? Don't worry, my friend, now I have nothing to fear." The sun began to crest and the fog began to clear. And as the sun peaked the horizon, she began to disappear. The wolf sat and let out a high-pitched howl. The demons were gone, and with them their scent oh so foul. The wolf retreated to his den and spoke to the cat. "I have quite the story for you. The girl and the demons? I already knew. It was her the reason of why I'm here. I was once hers and wanted to stay near. She was consumed with fear, sadness, and regret. I'm glad you helped, for I couldn't yet. But the problem is solved, and now we're here. I have a new friend with nothing to fear. One thing is certain, and I think that it's best. Just like her, it's now time to rest."
Thank you so much. Did you say your name's Violet? Yeah. Thank you, Violet. Can we give her another round? Writing poetry is so hard to do, and that was a long one. I'm so impressed. Way to go. Okay, I saw some other hands back there, so.
I do have one.
Yeah.
I will say it's incredibly dark.
That's okay. We're kind of wallowing in it tonight, so bring it.
Feel free to sit. There's a chair there. The stool.
Oh, I'm okay. Hi, my name is Sabrina. I just moved to this area a few months back. I'm actually from up north in Pittsburgh, PA. And this poem I'm going to read today is actually a song I wrote. I'm a musician. Which I'm just going to speak it. I'm just going to speak it today. It's about the past couple years of my life. I've been in a very dark place, felt very lost, trying to figure myself out, figure things out, and that's what inspired what I'm about to read for you. So, here we go. This poem's called Visions. In these visions, I see the past. I see the darkness through obsidian glass. I see the blood. I feel the pain. I see a shadow walk through the rain. There is no hope. There is no light. The sun is gone, so I shall fall. In these visions, I see the truth. I see the writing etched in the noose. I see the light drifting away. The leaves in the heart are quick to decay. There is no hope. There is no light. The sun is gone, so I shall fall. Give me a reason to breathe. Show me the meaning of existence. Nothing can fill this empty void except the pleasure of agony. I remain silent and still through my misery. May the fates cut the thread of life and light. May my tortured soul be torn asunder. Place my blackened heart upon the scales of judgment. The end.
Thank you, Sabrina, and welcome to San Marcos.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right, who's next? Come on up. Oh, and by the way, folks, I am taking pictures of y'all for social media. If you don't want your picture on social media, just hit me up afterwards. I'll delete it off my phone.
Hi, I'm Lynn Lance. I had a poem. Yeah, my poem's on page 4. It's a down or two. Sometimes, on cool autumn nights with rain tapping out a simple beat on the rooftop, I think of a timeline where we make it. I step into my power and hold boundaries and lose my maiden wounding. You learn to value my offerings and kiss my feet with tears of understanding. It's not in this lifetime. There is too much history here, too many skirmishes where we both ambushed each other. It was all really stupid, the hills we died on, the hills we left as soon as it was over. I guess it breaks my heart to love you and know it is not enough. And I will always love you from across the ocean of time between us.
Thank you, Lynn. Lynn's other poem that's in the journal is on the first page. Did you want to read that one too?
Oh, sure.
Yeah, love to hear it.
Thank you. That was actually the one I practiced. Okay, this one's called Polarity Expanded. What is it to love the darkness, but be the light? It's the lure of contrast. Even the dimmest light shines bright in total darkness. It's the pull of the void. Nothing seems so much easier than everything. It's the clear line between. One doesn't ever lose itself in the other. It's to forget it all for a while. The darkness reveals nothing, but the light reveals all. But there are only ever two options: stay and become the darkness, or leave and endure the expansion into light. Staying in ease or going in righteousness is all we ever know.
Thank you, Lynn. Great poems and also great coat.
Oh,
Right? Okay, I saw some other hands back there, so. Come on. You.
You said that 23 would be the best year that ever happened to me, but I'm 23 and that's a lie. This song has been stuck in my head for weeks, and it's not mine, but something about it is just so juicy and just resonates with me right now. You said that 23 would be our best year, but you were messing with me, 'cause at 23 you said goodbye. Last night I wandered to and fro on my porch, back and forth, singing this ditty, smoking a ciggy, having a grand old time. And then it hit me. I've never been broken up with. No shade, just why is this song resonating with me so profoundly? I cannot get it out of my head. You said that 23 would be the best year that ever happened to me, but I'm 23 and that's a lie. 10 years ago, I was 23. It was 2014. It's been 10 years. 10 years since I heard you tell me over the phone not to fly home, that you'd be fine, that the circumstances that put you in the hospital were just another thing to get through, that you'd grin and bear it and everything would be okay. 10 years since I didn't listen. 10 years since I hopped on a plane and came home anyway. 10 years since I sang you a last song. 10 years since I held your hand and looked into your eyes and said, you'll be with Grandma Faye soon. 10 years since your last breath on earth spiraled into your bedroom ceiling. I can hardly believe it, Daddy. I went to sleep last night thinking about that space between the me you knew then and the me I am now. I woke up with the intention to share a poem tonight that I wrote back then as I initially grieved. And as I read over them this morning, I could feel my youth in the words. I could feel how young and scared and lost I was, which is not how I feel now. I feel grateful that I ever knew you, that I was raised by such a strong, kind, and loving father. How lucky, how blessed. My tears might look the same as they did when I first lost him, but I am not the same. I'm growing up with a learned faith in grieving. My grief and tears are not sent out with vitriol, spewing across the freshly turned earth made new for your grave, but rather they come like rain, in natural rhythm, lovingly filling the abyss your absence left, carrying me into beloved memories. I grab a canoe and I paddle on.
Thanks so much. My name is Julia Faye. Wow.
Yeah.
That was really good. Thank you. And also, like, that. Also, here's to that 10 years between 23 and 33. Like, right? So glad those happened. Who else would like to read?
Hi, my name's Lily. I don't write very often, and I much less share my poems, so this is my first open mic night. This poem I wrote actually because my friend Adriana told me to write about these feelings I was having. I, like many other people, have struggled with feeling unlovable for so much of my life. I've been through rough relationships with, romantic partners, other people. But I came across one person who never explicitly said it, but the look in their eyes was enough to know. And if you know anything about me, you know that the stars are like the most important thing to me. They're the one thing that will always be there, and that I will get to go back to. So, this is a short poem, but I'm really proud of it. To be looked at like that is to be looked at among the stars. No room for a telescope between our bodies, as we dance to your favorite song. You were right, you are so uncoordinated. Your hands so loose on my waist. I won't burn them. I'm not really a star. The warmth not radiating from me, but from your gaze.
What is your name?
Lily.
Lily. Thank you, Lily. That was beautiful. Nice little burst of love. And you're wearing your Cheer Bear shirt.
Love it.
Okay, who's next? I see a hand way in the back.
Yeah.
Yay, it's Momo. Give me a shout.
Gotta find my poem. How's everyone doing now? Thank you.
Ditto.
Thank you.
It's a good sweater.
Thank you as well. All right. The poem's called January, and it's on page 12. A branching coral-wrapped sky harbors the sun as you guide me out of my blankets and breathe in snow slab Ponderosa pines. If but only a few minutes, every street and snow-plowed pile of pallid quiet cradles me. It doesn't take much of anything to sink back into your couch in the snow pants and weatherproof jacket. A breath deep enough to trace lungs and carve pained heat into every exhale, tinged with a hint of iron rock cops or still streets of a college town where leaves and twigs snap underfoot echo the same as clumsily crushed snow draping weary over a January Tahoe. Or anything that lulls trembling limbs and following thoughts in static and slumber.
Thank you, Momo. That was wonderful. Always is. I don't know about y'all, but I've been doing a lot of sinking into my couch lately, too. So there's a couple more people here who I know want to read. Please come on up.
Hello, my name is, I'm sorry I didn't sign up sooner. Like, I feel like I always need a few poets to inspire me before I get up here, but my name is Raven. It's nice to see you guys all here. I read it the last one, but I think I feel brave enough and on enough coffee today to read it this one. This piece is called Kingdom Come, and if you recognize the first line, let me know, because I'm pretty sure it's a borrowed line from one of my exercises, but free points for you. There you go. Kingdom Come. In the laurel tree behind the barn out back, peace blinks, marble black pupils weepy with dew. I watch hand, finger and nails strip a dripping twig, snap the earthy rig outstretched towards me. Dark spots dissolve space in my palm, now open, close, how many, how little it takes. I pry her eyes to the sun, body without me, branch without tree, a wreath bent. Swallow, feel full, spit seed and hold. I swallow, am full, tree empty, tree whole. Thank
you. Thank you, Raven. Welcome back. Glad you read. Who else? Anyone else? Oh, come on, you guys. All right, there we go.
We'll get a handle on it later.
Give me 1 second to find which one I was going to read. So, I write a lot of poetry. I don't share my poetry, so this is also a first.
calling for air. Steal the breath right from my lungs. Replace it with your own. Now a slow transformation into you. Skin warps and reshapes. Hair leeches of color. Midnight eyes replace honeyed brown. A blending of two into the one. And when you attempt to remove yourself, it's sucked into the essence of me.
Love that last line too. Okay, we have a heroic volunteer who has volunteered to read the Keftashinko poem for me. So please put it together for this kind of person. What is your name?
I'm Will.
Will, thank you, Will.
Hi, I'm just a substitute.
Curly?
Yeah. People. No people are uninteresting. Their fate is like the chronicle of planets. Nothing in them is not particular, and planet is dissimilar from planet. And if a man lived in obscurity, making his friends in that obscurity, obscurity is not uninteresting. To each his world is private, and in that world one excellent minute, and in that world one tragic minute. These are private. If any man who dies there dies with him, his first snow and kiss and fight, it goes with him. They are left books and bridges and painted canvas and machinery, whose fate is to survive. But what is gone is also not nothing. By the rule of the game, something is gone. Not people die, but worlds die in them. Whom we knew as faulty, the earth's creatures, of whom, essentially, what did we know? Brother of a brother, friend of friends, lover of lover. We who knew our fathers in everything, in nothing, they perish. They cannot be brought back. The secret worlds are not regenerated. And every time again and again, I make my lament against destruction.
Thank you so much, Will. I really wanted that to happen. And that was a cold reading too, so, you know.
Yeah.
Way to go. Good job. Would anybody else like to share a poem?
I can go again.
Okay, come on back up, Violet.
Woo! This time I'm going to pull a chair. Once again, my name is Violet Messenger, for those that maybe new in the back. And I'm going to give you an option again. So, the other one that you didn't choose, the whimsical melancholy, or a macabre waltz with death.
Whimsical melancholy.
So, all right. So,
Melancholy makes me jolly.
this one's called The Twist. Alone in the black as I writhe within my bed, unable to sleep, storm raging outside and in my head. The lightning cracked and the thunder rolled. There was a chill in the air. I began to feel cold. I see a twist of black unfurl in the dark. I watch as it slithered, not leaving a mark. The moonlight glistens and shines on its scale, winding ever so closer with flicks of its tail. I saunter over. Am I awake or asleep? The darkness dances as it continues to creep. The moonlight filters through my curtained windows. It moves through the night now like cryptic shadows. What does this creature seek to obtain? Could it be seeking shelter and warmth from the rain? I kneel for a moment just to observe. A reprieve from the chaos is something we all deserve. It draws closer still without hesitation or fear. I hold out my hand as the creature draws near. With a giggling smirk, I watch as it flicks its tongue. A curious smile on my face, it seems you've brung. It slithers and winds upon my extended arm. You dark little thing, I know you mean no harm. It slides across my pale, moonlit skin. I watch as it's found its respite once again. I begin to hoist it upwards with outlifted fingers. It slithers, wraps, licks its tongue, but seeks to linger. My cold footsteps on a stone floor as my skin lay bare. I stroll back to bed as it slithers through my hair. I climb in under my covers and lay down my head to rest. It slithers down my neck and across my chest. It seems we found some comfort in each other tonight, wandering in the dark where one oft finds fright.
Thank you so much. We are coming to the end of our time together this evening, but before we close things out, I just want to say, tonight we have sound being run by an actual human being who, as I understand it, came in on his day off just to do this for us. So thank you so much for having us be able to hear each other and helping me set up the chairs and all of that. Really appreciate it. So again, for those of you who may have missed it, we are always taking submissions. You can find the address to submit your poetry and or artwork or both in the back of your journal. Our next poetry issue and open mic reading will be in April, so stay tuned. We'll have announcements there on Facebook and Instagram and all that good stuff for you to follow along. Jack, would you like to close us out with a song?
Sure.
That would be lovely.
Do we have any singers in the group?
I think we have heard some singing tonight, so I would say yes.
Well, we could use some singers. And if you're brave, you can come on up. But if you're not, you can strap some music. Why didn't the guitar player put a strap on his guitar? Fail. Try again. Flip it around. And yes. Okay, so I wrote a song when I first came to Austin back in 2011, 12. 11 I got here, 12 I think I wrote this. And I'm from Rhode Island, came down, took 2 trains and a day and a half to get here. It was a great ride. As soon as I got here, people started asking me, like, what do you do? Do you play? It's like they assume that you must play an instrument. I love that about Austin. And you can be busy every day, poetry, music. So I got right into it. Anyway, so joined some song circles, and they encouraged me to start doing my stuff. You know, go home, write some lyrics, bring some songs back. And we've sung this here many times before. You'll know it as soon as you hear it, if you've heard it before. It's called the La La Song. You can sing the hard part with me. You'll know it when you hear it. Find a way. Oops, let me try it. Find a way to fly above your fears. Find a way, struggle for your tears. Find a way, change the color. To yourself to make you true. Let some sunshine come into your heart. Let the love you once felt make a brand new start. Let dream clouds shower you with love.
louder this time. Ready? La 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 la. It'll make you smile. La 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 la. Let's smile already. La 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 la. You owe it to yourself to make it true. You owe it to yourself to make it true. I'm gonna try to whistle that. I hope it's gonna work out. Wet your lips if you want to follow. Yellow lilies melting in the sun, wrapped in blue skies, colors having fun. Blue and yellow mixed to green and blue. The palette you create belongs to you. You owe it to yourself to make it true. This is the last la-la, so as loud as you can. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. You owe it to yourself to make it true. You owe it to yourself to make it true. You owe it to yourself to make it true. You owe it to yourself to make it true. Slow and sexy. You owe it to yourself to make it true.
Thank you so much, Jack. Oh, you got one more? Okay, come on.
I do. I had to find it.
Okay.
Alright, got another poem. 5's a little different than my last one. This one is dedicated to Violet in the back there. It's called Solace. Beneath the moonlight is a smile that shines, ever bright, beyond any star alive. Betwixt my weary heart, the twinkle in her eyes. Comes her touch, full of endearment and surprise. I can feel the lust in your breath as you whisper in my ear. I can feel this empty void inside me disappear. And when I feel your fangs embrace upon my neck, you bring such ecstasy that it deserves reverence. So let me be a place for you to rest your head. For you're my solace in the dark, and that I can't forget.
Lovely way to end the evening with some love. Thank you so much
Yeah.
for sharing. I'm gonna do like a group room shot, okay? So everybody like everybody say poetry. Poetry. Thank you so much. Thank you all so much for being here. Thank you so much for sharing your work, being vulnerable, being brave. Y'all are awesome. I love you. I can't wait to see you again in April, and I look forward to reading your work. Thank you so much. Thank you. Happy New Year.
Thank you.
I guess she's coming anyway. I didn't know how to do it. I got a good But he was very uplifting. That was a nerve thing. But it was all really
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, we'll be coming again.
Compassionate space. I picked the last one. I chatted with Molly for a second. She was like, "You don't have friends there," and I was like, "What's up, David?" Oh yeah. Isn't it so inspiring? Oh, yeah. I think I've done that. It's interesting. It's one of mine. I think it's I'll post it on Reddit. I've never had any Yeah, I'll send those pictures to you. Like one of our first I've been invited to I know I've been the way definitely inspired. So this may, next time we're gonna play it. So like Me too. Gang, of course, has an 8 o'clock pickleball, but it's going to be so cold to walk at that time. So I figured you wouldn't want to walk before 9, right? No. Okay, good. Or maybe 9:30. Yeah. But as long as we do it before noon for Molly, but if it's just you and me, that's fine too, right? Yeah. You're pretty free tomorrow? I'm pretty free, yeah. Okay, awesome. I am too. So yeah, we'll do it for walk. If Molly can't go, we'll get her on the next one. Yeah. Okay, so next week in the morning. Yeah, that'd be perfect. Yeah, like movie or something. Yeah, I need to. I don't get out to the like movie theater. You ever watch movies at the small? We should have the movie theater. I mean, it's once in a blue moon. Yeah. See that happen?
I will be back.
This was expired. I can't believe Ryan will be taking it.
I mean, y'all are a great job. I love that.
Yeah, you'll find with your liveliness.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for sharing your poetry. It was beautiful. Yeah. And your piece was awesome. Thank you. Your energy was appreciated.
Take care of that.
Are you sure I don't mind?
No, I can pay for this.
Okay, thank you. What's your name?
Steve.
Steve, I'm Edie.
Edie?
So nice to meet you. Thank you so much for
Sure, yeah. I'm looking forward to April.
Word next. Are you sitting on like helping or feedback or sharing? Okay. Okay, beautiful. Thanks for letting me know. Bye. I know. I know.
Some of them first timers are really.
I know. Yeah.
So, anything you want me to do?
No, Steve said that he would take care of the setup and everything, so I'm gonna let him.
Well, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you. I'm so glad you came.
I am too.
Yeah, I hope everything works out with your car.
I hope you get it next week.
Yeah, this is a hard place to live without a car.
You don't realize how life is hampered.
Yeah.
You don't have the wheels and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Everything's so far away.
Yeah, I know, and then go public transport, so, yeah.
Okay, well.
Great to see you. Thanks again, Jack.
Excellent, thank you, sir. I can hear everything, even I had to hear you.